I just stopped because I remembered that I promised to record the whole session. So now I'm recording everything just for disclosure, so everybody knows that we are being recorded. I'm going to share my screen, all of it, but you don't have to. So right now I'm sharing the full screen and you are going to see like everything, right? And you see you see the meeting that came up, and it shouldn't, because it's not something that I wanted to show you, or all sorts of, these are reminders in my Outlook. All of these are not things that you might want people to see. So something that you can do when you share your screen, if you go to, I'm gonna show it to you. I want to show the whole screen. On your screen, at the bottom, you see lots of options. One of them is to share, but when you press it, it doesn't automatically share the whole screen. You have an option of sharing a particular screen, and then when you leave that screen, people will not see anything but this particular screen. They will just stay there and see it. So you can go between screens and it will not interrupt the whole lesson for everybody. I'm sharing the whole screen now because I want you to be able to see everything that I do. So bear with me. So these are the things that I wanted to express and explain: how to prepare in advance for a Zoom meeting or a Zoom lesson. How do you open, how do you start the lesson? How do you go with the lesson, all sorts of procedures within the lesson. Then how do you end the lesson and what happens after the lesson? So that's kind of what I would like to talk about. Does everybody see this screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so how to prepare for the lesson. First thing, prepare the room. So as an example, you can see that I'm sitting in a room and there's like some sort of a painting behind me. I have a different room where I sometimes work, and it has less of an appealing look, I guess. Let's suppose that this is an appealing look, or relatively. Everybody understands that we're not working in the office and that we're kind of at home, but I would say, as the less distractions we have, the better. So for I have a lesson, upcoming lesson, I might take off the picture, just so that there's something not distracting behind me, like nothing. Preparing yourself. On purpose, I was lazy today and I didn't dress up, and on purpose I left it this way. So I'm completely dressed in some workout something, and then it's it might be acceptable. It might you might feel that I should have dressed a little bit better. I suppose that for the lesson I will dress a little bit better, but I wanted to show you. I wanted you to see what it looks like when you do dress up, when you don't dress up. So I left it as is for you. Whatever open windows I have, if I'm sharing the whole screen, which might be an option that you will choose. When I close one of the windows, I don't want anything that I was doing before that is not professional to be in the way. So for this lesson, for example, I had some I don't know, some shopping website that I used before that. I closed it. So kind of I would prepare the screen and everything that I'm doing on the computer. I would close it and take it off for the lesson, because you never know when you might get there just by mistake. It might jump up, or all sorts of reminders might jump up, and you don't want them. So kind of this is like, if you want to go to the internet, you don't want to have stuff that is not professional there. Okay, I'm back to the PowerPoint. I prepared in advance this PowerPoint, and I'm going to actually also use another one that I wanted to show you. And there's a drawing board that I could potentially use. So I'm preparing everything that I want in advance, that I know that I'm going to use in the lesson, because then during the lesson I'm not stressed because it's not right by me. Same for exercises, that if you have and you want people to do, just either write them down to yourself, what you want people to do, what you're going to expect them to do, or have them prepared or send them in advance to people. This takes a little bit of preparation, but you would prepare in the same way to an in-class lesson, right? I mean, you would bring with you materials, or have people prepare in advance. Any questions about preparation so far?
I have one, but Anne?
Yeah.
I found when I was doing my Zoom classes, one, I lost my chat. And so then I opened it up again, but then it was covering my slide.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't arrange my desktop such that it wasn't covering half of my slide. Is there a way to show your PowerPoint like you have, but consciously make it like 3/4 of the screen so that you can have a place for your chat and everything else? Because I didn't have that flexibility. Zoom was just going to put that chat where it was going to put that chat, and it was covering my slide.
Right. So there are different options here. Let me just look it up. There's one that okay, some people are writing into the chat. Let's just so you see I'm putting the chat in here. It's on the screen, right? So Cassandra says, go to view options at top of screen, scroll over, and then click. So top of screen, you're suggesting here, Cassandra? Or are the view options here? I don't think I have it here, right? Let's get out of here and go here to, that's what I want. It's also not what I want.
If you want to move that chat, you can just grab it and move it anywhere on your screen.
This one?
No, I think
oh, the chat itself? Yeah, I could, but okay. Yeah, I don't find what
Well, let me ask you a different question then. Where do you think your chat window is on your screen? Because
oh, this one?
Yeah, I don't see
this
it.
This one? I brought it up from here. So while being here,
Okay.
The chat.
There's a clarification here then. It looks like I was being bothered by my window, but it looks like I can't see your chat, your version of the chat. I can pull up the chat on my screen, but the fact that you're looking at the chat, I don't see it. So maybe it's not an issue for my students. It was an issue for me, and I'm assuming that it was causing them problems too.
No, Carolyn, it's just an issue for you because your chat is wherever you place it on this slide deck. So if you want to move it up to the top, you can grab it and move it, but maybe Cassie wants it someplace else. So everybody moves it to different locations depending on what works for them.
Okay, all right, that's great. I thought for sure they were losing a lot of content just because I couldn't get that chat open. All right, thanks.
Okay, I got confused for a second because I was thinking that maybe the students don't see what I see, right? So kind of.
Yeah, however you organize your slide and Zoom
Yeah.
is different maybe than others, but you can always grab the chat at the bottom of the screen where it says invite participants, share screen. You can always grab it from there. I don't know if that helps you or not,
Like
Carolyn.
from here?
Yep, down here at the bottom. You know where you put your mute and you start your video? At the far bottom of your screen is a taskbar. So if for some reason you lose your chat, you can always pull it up from there.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. As an instructor, I found out that you lose that participant chat bar, but you gain the instructor chat bar.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, so what Anne's seeing may not necessarily be what we're seeing.
Right.
Yeah. Even if I share the screen completely, so.
Right, and the reason
Right.
for that is you can do private chats. So you wouldn't necessarily want other people to see you sending a private chat to a student saying, please turn off your conversation or whatever. So that's one of the reasons why people can't see your chat.
Yep. So, okay, are we fine on this point?
Yep, I'm fine.
Right. Okay, I'm okay. I'm gonna, I guess, close it here for now. I'll move on. I think you got the idea about the preparation. I wrote down a few ideas for how to start the lesson. And again, they may be redundant for people who are well versed or people who have already done it, but these are kind of from my experience. I usually schedule the beginning of the session like 5 minutes or 15 minutes before the lesson actually is supposed to start, because many people start earlier and they don't know how to mute, and they have internet problems, so that I'm available for them before the lesson, and the same will happen at the end of the lesson. I record all lessons that are in class, and therefore I see a good reason to record the lesson when I'm doing it on Zoom, because then students who email me, oh, I missed the class, did I miss anything important, can get the answer of here's the link, watch the lesson, and be with us. So I would record all the lessons. I always mention that this is new, that we're trying out different things, and then I try to become comfortable with all sorts of mistakes that I make, and I hope with the hope that people understand that this is all human and this is not like a webinar or a show that they need to just watch. I always, in the beginning, I ask everybody, do you see me? Do you hear me? I tell them what I see, because they don't know, or we're not in the same room. I tell them what I'm going to do every time I go to the next slide or something. I tell them, now I'm going to go to the next slide and explain the next thing. Why I'm doing this? Because it already happened to me, actually. I went to the next slide and to the next slide and to the next slide, and students didn't see that, and it took them time to realize that I'm moving through slides and telling something new and expecting them to see something at the same time that I'm talking, but they kept seeing the same slide over and over again. It was a technical mistake of mine, but therefore I'm every time I'm moving somewhere so they don't lose me, I'm saying, okay, now I'm going to close this window and go online or something like that. Yeah, muting everybody is sometimes just good because people are from home or in a hall, and there are lots of noises that they don't even notice. But you do. I'll go to the, you see, I'm telling you what I'm going to do. There's 3 messages in the chat. Let's see, but it's to everyone, so everybody can see that. So, okay, let's see. So, yeah, so these are still about the how to maneuver the chat window and the PowerPoint. Okay, Peter, you moved it and it moved for everybody. That's what you're saying? Like you moved the chat window and it moved for everybody? Peter. Okay, Peter will answer. I'm closing the window. Right now, I'll just move on and I will get a response from Peter later. I usually use no video for students, and one of the reasons is because, again, it is distracting. So now we have one video of Caroline and myself, and then there are other people, but right? But for some of them we have photos, for some of them we have videos. Overall, suppose that all of these were like lots of students, and it would be kind of distracting, right? If we had all of these pictures. So I use no videos usually. One more thing that you can do is just this. Do you see it the way I see it? I just moved away all the pictures. Do you see it the same way?
Yeah, no, the pictures are all still there.
Okay, I see. So this means that you can control it yourself. But that's another reason I would say for us not to use student videos. But then I'm sure that that others would say that actually they prefer to see the students because it's kind of more personal, and especially if there's like a discussion, then you see all the pictures one after the other. There's no PowerPoint. It's just let's talk. So some sort of thing. I had a response here in the chat. Just a moment. Okay, so it's a question. When you record, do you save locally or in the cloud? I save locally because if I save in the cloud, this means that I need to set to myself in the like which cloud and where, and this is a decision that I didn't want to do at this point. I can always later save it in the cloud, but I'm sure that others with other experience can also say something about how to record in the cloud or locally. Just write whatever you feel, or if someone wants just to say. Have fun, Peter. All right. Okay, I'm taking off at this point. Oh, okay. And what was the answer? We'll get the answer. Okay. Also, I'm testing the communication with the students, so I'm asking everybody just say yes if you hear me, or just talk for a second. Okay, don't talk. Or I'm asking a simple question: what's your favorite color? Write it in the chat, just to make sure that everybody knows how this is going to work. So one more thing for just moving from window to window, it's not only within the PowerPoint, just making sure this is the beginning of the lesson, just making sure that everybody sees how I do this when I want them to see that. And again, always kind of checking that it works. because in the class you just look them in the eyes and you see that it works or not, but not in this environment. Okay, any questions or comments so far? We're good? Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a way for all of the thumbnails of the folks in the classroom to appear on the screen at once for myself as the instructor? And I'd also like all the students to be in that same view so it looks like a classroom.
Do you see what I see now?
No.
Yeah, but I don't see everybody. I see some of the thumbnails, but then you have to toggle to get to the others.
How about
I
this?
was wondering if it's a full screen view of
Yep.
all the thumbnails.
So I press the grid here. Do you see what I'm showing?
No.
No, okay. In your window, the black one with the pictures of everybody,
Yeah.
on the left upper corner of that window, there is like a small line, then something like a rectangular, then two rectangulars, and then a bluish grid, right? There's like 4 icons on this window. Is there?
No.
Okay.
No, not for us. The only 2 views we'll have will be the speaker view or the gallery view.
I have 4 choices on mine.
I don't.
Huh.
I only have the 2 views, the speaker view and the gallery view.
Okay.
And when I go to the speaker view, I see some of the thumbnails, but then I have to toggle down to see others. And what I'm looking for is a complete classroom simulation where myself and the students are all looking at all of the thumbnails on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I can see all the thumbnails. There is an arrow so that you can scroll through all the photos of each participant.
I understand. I was wondering if I could get rid of the scroll
Oh, I see.
and see all of the students
Yes, all
at
at once.
once and have every student looking at the same classroom simulation view.
I found, Ralph, that if you grab the edges of it, just like any other window, you can drag the whole thing and make it as big as you want. And then all of a sudden you get a lot more people.
That's what I just did. But you guys, you don't see my window, right?
No.
We are manipulating our own windows.
Yeah. You have to change the size of the slide deck to get more and more and more of the thumbnails. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
Do you see that, Ralph? You changed the size of the slide deck?
Got it. So what I did was I just pulled that whole slide deck window over, and that exposed all of the thumbnails on one screen.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just going to show one small thing.
But it obscures the PowerPoint when you do that.
Well,
Yeah.
It
I
makes
can't
it
see the
smaller.
PowerPoint when you do that.
That's what I saw when I grabbed it by the sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a view where I have all of the thumbnails on the right, and then I have my slide deck on the left. But now it's corrupted with additional thumbnails over the slide deck.
Yeah, to be completely honest, I prefer the Blackboard Collaborate option for teaching online. But this is a session about Zoom, so I'm not talking about Blackboard Collaborate, I guess. But the Blackboard Collaborate option it is specifically designed for students so they can raise their hand, there are many more things that I can do there. The interface for Zoom is simple, but it's sometimes too simplistic, in my opinion. That's here. That's where you see my screen, right?
Yes.
That's where you drag it, just in case you were wondering.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway,
I see that you have the mouse pointer. You're showing us where you would drag.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Can we move on? Are we good?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Okay. These are just a few things that I was hoping to share as what I would be doing in the beginning of a lesson. I would like to move on to the next slide I prepared for you with some ideas about how the lesson goes on from now on. So I'm opening the, I use PowerPoints a lot, but it's not necessary at all. If you don't have ready PowerPoints, sometimes it's easier for you just to appear in front of the screen and talk because you do it better. And sometimes I have like a drawing board, like a small one that I have at home, but it's very useful because students can actually see what I do on the board. I don't mind getting up in the middle and turning with my back to them like I would do in class and just say whatever I have to say. I can hold up things against the screen and show and talk about them if I want to. So it's not necessary to have a ready PowerPoint. If I do have a PowerPoint or I want to use a board, I always ask, do you actually see what I'm drawing? Because what I see is not necessarily what they see. And kind of just, again, making sure that everything flows all the time. Because I noticed that if I don't ask, they don't say anything and they don't see anything. During the lesson, I collect responses on purpose. So kind of when I teach online, if it's a lesson online, or here you see someone raised a hand. Oh, you don't see that, right? I see that someone raised a hand.
I did. I just wondered why, as you're explaining, some people have their sound muted. It shows
Yes.
and I don't. Now I'm wondering why you would mute the sound.
I want to mute the sound of all of the students in the beginning because I don't know if you hear that I have children in the background
I don't.
talking. They're not too loud, but they could be, right? I mean, everybody has different, I don't know, a dog barks and you can't control all of this. And when you have like 30 of those, you have permanent disruptions. Also, some students, they use their phones to connect and not their computers. And with the phone, I don't know if you noticed, you hear everything that they do. So if they, if they play with it, if they touch anywhere, you always hear that, and it's really disrupting.
So it's to be rid of the background noises, so you can still communicate with the presenter even if your recording is muted.
If my sound is muted,
Yeah.
I can communicate like you just did. You raised your hand.
Yeah.
So and I saw that as the instructor, so I can say, yes, Maria, what? You can write in the chat and it appears on my window. Again, you guys don't see that, but I see every time that someone writes like something into the chat here. Someone just wrote 2 chats I have. Michael is saying you can click, so actually it's to everybody, so you can see this. Thanks, Michael. Okay, so kind of, oopsies, I'm sorry, I moved from one place to another, so you see lots of things that you didn't want to see. Okay, so your way of communication, first you can unmute yourself and then mute yourself back. If you want to talk, or you can write into the chat window to everyone or just to me, and I will see that. Or you can just raise your hand and wait for me to address you. Kind of. Make sense? Maria. We're good? So this is a place where if I don't get any response, I start thinking maybe I did something wrong, and I start looking, maybe I hit the mute button or something on.
Excuse me, this is Olga. I do have a question. I'm assuming I'm seeing it from the client side, which is.
You're assuming what? I'm sorry, if you could.
I'm assuming what I'm seeing now is a mirror of what the students would see when I'm in your role. So where do I raise my hand?
Where do you raise your hand?
Yes, if I wanted to raise my hand, I'm looking to see where I find that.
It should be in your options. Let me see, where is it? Again, one of the things that I don't do much. Okay, sorry, that's not what I meant. Here. Yeah, but yeah, I can't.
And it's under the more button. There's a raise hand button under the more.
Yeah, I don't think I can see it. Okay, I'll try it.
Do I see more? I'm looking.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to raise my hand because I'm the instructor here. It's just a matter of role, but can you go to, do you see what I'm seeing now? Do you see that I opened the control button, or you just see the lesson procedures slide and that's it?
I'm looking.
Okay.
But keep moving. I'll
Yep, there's Carolyn posted in the for everyone where to look.
So I just found it, like where's the raise your hand thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in participants, so everyone can see participants thing, like 22 participants. If we click, a new window opens up, and then we can actually do raise hand. So right now I have done it, so everyone can see it. I think you can see it, Kronrod.
I think only I can see it.
Okay, you can see it, and
No,
now
I can see it.
You can see that.
We can see who's
we
raised.
can see
Maria
participants.
Matarazzo raised her hand.
Oh, awesome. Good to know.
Maria,
Okay,
Ali both have their hands raised.
So yeah.
Okay. And I was asking the question about the saving of the video previously. So at that time, I didn't have my headphones on, and my daughter was shouting at the back. So yeah, so I actually tried to record a video on, there were two options. I can record and save it locally or on the cloud when I was trying to capture the screen. And I was not sure which one is more effective, because when I tried the cloud one, it took a long time to process.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know, is it everyone
my
experiencing the same
experience
thing?
is my experience, I record locally and then I deal with where. Yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah.
But I didn't hear, today I haven't heard another opinion on that, but if you still have one, then share it, please, because that's just my experience.
Yeah, I felt the same thing, like locally is more effective right now for some reason.
Yeah.
So I got the same answer from you. Thank you.
Sure. Ali, do you still want to ask something? You're raising your hand?
No, I just mistakenly did that. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. So during the lesson, I'm asking lots of questions and collecting responses. And sometimes, again, it's more flexible and easy to do in the Blackboard Collaborate option. So it's inside Blackboard, there's almost like Zoom. It's really similar in the technically, but it has options like polling. So they like poll everywhere. They see the responses kind of piling up into bars, and they see their own responses and how the class responds online, which is really cool. It's like it's a feature that you cannot do in class. So this is like an advantage of the online teaching. But another reason I do this is just to keep them awake. It's very hard to just listen to someone talking endlessly, even with slides and pictures and videos. Still, it's hard. So I make them active. I ask them to respond, even if it's just pressing a button, since they need think before pressing a button, it actually makes them, the thought, more active. So I love it as a tool. I make stops on purpose. Like I stop and I say, that's what happens when it's not muted. We don't even know who that is.
Hello, this is Nid Early. Hello?
Yeah. So I make planned stops. Like I tell the students, okay, now take a few moments. I'm going to like do something. I'm going to switch to a different slide, or I'm going to wait. And it's not like stops for 10 minutes. It's like for half a minute. But I'm telling them now there's time to shut down. And I would even, you know, shut off my own video for a few moments and tell them just wait and just quiet. And then I would return and say, okay, everybody got some water, everything? Okay, let's go on. So especially for long lessons, it's very recommended, I think. How do I move from, yeah.
I agree with you, Ann. I'm taking a class over in South Campus. It's a 3-hour class. And that was really hard as a participant to sit for 3 hours like that. It was really tough, guys, with headphones on. And so just be mindful.
Yeah, I would say even for an hour, right? Like usually in class, they can move, they can look away, they can look in their screens, and sometimes they answer text at this point. Here, you're afraid to miss something, and you don't move anywhere if you're not prepared. Something that I sometimes tell my students, I tell them how to prepare for an online lesson. So like I would tell them, make sure to have water with you, make sure that, I don't know, that you use the bathroom, things like that. It's kind of, it sounds funny, but they are not prepared. And it bothers them. If private chat is selected, can the host see the posts? Private with the host, obviously, yes. Private with other students, you can set in advance this option of allowing it or not allowing it. You can just decide that you do not allow private chats. I actually set it up, maybe because I'm control freak, I don't know. But I set it up because I don't like this idea that students will chat with each other by mistake, thinking that that they are chatting with me or something. I want to know what's going on my session, so I just don't allow it. They can't. If they want to chat, they can, you know, use Facebook or something. Okay, the moving from window to window. So now we're going to just, I'm going to step out of this window. Again, I'm telling you what I'm going to do. I think it's important for students to know what's happening. And I'm moving to another presentation, PowerPoint presentation, because I want to show you something, okay? So this is just a lesson that I'm going to be teaching. So I'm teaching some stuff, and here are some pictures, and this is how the lesson will go, and I'm explaining and talking and stopping from time to time to ask if there are questions. And within the lesson, I could potentially have questions for the students, and I would want them to answer those questions. So within Zoom, their only way to do that is through the chat or speaking. They can raise their hand and they can say, okay, yes, I don't know, Mr. Smith, what do you think about this? So they can like actually unmute themselves and talk, and this is like a discussion in class, or they can write in the chat and I will read it out, unless this is to everyone, and then everyone can read it. We got that chat thing. Okay. Carolyn did polls yesterday on Zoom, and it worked quite well. Cool. Yes. Right. So especially for yes/no questions, right, Carolyn? I guess.
I actually did it for multiple choice questions.
Okay.
And then we also used the chat function to sort of go through some of the underlying rationale. So they were checkpoints in my lesson when I used this.
Okay. Did you do, so the polls, this is something I don't know. The poll option is inside the Zoom session, or you used like everywhere, poll everywhere, or some other software?
No, it's within the Zoom. So when you set up and schedule your lesson, if you go all the way down to the very bottom of your screen, where normally it says submit, it gives you the option, do you want to upload a poll? And so if you do that, it's a CSV file, so you can prepare your polls in advance and upload them. And then once you've got that up, you can add on the fly additional polling. And that's very easy to do interactively. What I did was I set them up in advance and then just simply uploaded them. But you have to use their template, which is available. It just says, do you want to download the template? And then you just type in your questions. You can select multiple choice or single answer questions. And then I use that in combination with the chat to, clarify some of the answers.
That's awesome. Okay, good. Thank you. I didn't know. So, okay. So that's another option, right? You can just use a poll.
And
yeah.
I have been through so many of these sessions, I'm not sure where I saw it. I thought there was a capability to have a poll ongoing here in this application.
To have a poll?
Yeah.
That's what Maria was just, oh, sorry. Wait, I'm not sure Maria or Caroline was just sharing. She was just explaining about it. Yes.
But you can do one, Anne, right now. If you go to the top of your screen where you have the instructor, there's a polling option for you, and you can do one right now on the fly.
Oh, the instructor can.
The instructor can.
So, Anne, you could launch a poll right now. Is that what you're saying, Carolyn?
Yes.
Yep. Yep. I want to see how to do it. Yeah, we're going to try it as soon as I get it. Okay, this is not what I wanted. I'm looking for it, but if you guys know how to do it from the instructor's window, that would be awesome. I don't want to waste your time on looking for it.
Yeah, no, it was definitely in the instructor's floating menu. I mean, we can't do it from down here.
Yeah. Oh, people are scribbling on the board. I'm just going through the options, trying to find what I want.
Maybe more. Maybe it was buried under more.
Yeah, I'm under more. Okay. Thanks,
Can
Deb.
you hear me?
Yep.
I just bought a microphone. I was testing it.
It's great. It works great.
Good, because I have a class at 6:30.
Good. Yeah, it works good. I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a second, guys, because I want to be able to see what else I can do. So right now, the way it is set is that you can chat. I'm sorry, it's a different topic, but it's like answering. Yeah, I'll take a look in a second about on for the pollings. You can chat privately and publicly, but for students, I do it differently. So this is yeah, but I want to do that for your own meetings. So this is about how to create a poll, right? If I want to do it like in the moment, I'm not sure how to do that. I'm looking in all the options, so. Yeah.
I have another question.
Yeah, how about I get back to you about this to everybody? Because I want to look it up first. I feel like I'm looking for it, but I don't do it well enough. Is that fine? On the polling, like
That's
on
fine.
the spot
That's
polling.
fine. Yes.
I'll get back to you guys later. Yeah, questions?
Thank you. It occurs to me that I might want to have myself also signed in as a participant on another screen so that I can see exactly what my students are seeing, separate from my instructor's position. Does that make sense?
Yes. Manage participants. Okay. Let me. I'm gonna write down for myself. I'm writing to myself about polling during Zoom session and participant view during the Zoom session. I will not answer it right now because I don't know the answer. I'll check it out. Never tried it before, so I'll check it out. But I think it's a very relevant question. Right. I guess something else that I wanted to show you. Let me share the screen again. Okay, so now you see like a YouTube video, right? Do you see it? Just checking.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Right? Do you hear it? It should be guitar music. No, right? You don't, because only I hear it. So there's here you need to allow for people to hear computer sound. All right. Where was it? I just had it. I think it's in the.
Is it in the mute button? On the
Yeah,
bottom?
in the mute button, right? Sorry. Okay, now I lost it. Here, share computer sound. So for me, it is under more, which sadly you don't see. That's kind of. Let me just print the screen and share it. Just a little bit of. Sorry, give me just 1 second. Okay, so I went, that's what I see. That's what I saw. Is it useful? Do you see what kind of, what I'm showing? I saw this was the, like the video. And this is what I saw. That's my rolling out tools window. I went to more and all the way here, share computer sound. So I'm gonna do this.
Mine isn't moving and neither is the sound at all.
Can you repeat?
Mine is not moving. The video is just frozen on a particular image of a
right.
bend in the road.
Okay, so you don't see what I see? What I'm showing you?
No.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know.
No, that's why I'm telling you.
Okay, I'm stopping the sharing and I'm sharing the screen again. I want to share the full screen. How about now? What do you see?
The same as before, a bend in a road and a still image is what I see.
Okay, so you do not see the in-zoom options that I'm showing. You don't see the PowerPoint presentation. I stuck it, like I pasted it inside this window that you see with the road in the forest.
We see the road in the forest.
Yep.
It is a frozen image, and I can see your tool set.
Oh, good. Okay.
Over it, but
awesome.
I cannot hear any sound.
Not yet. Okay. Not yet. You will. Give me a second. Because I didn't press it yet. So share computer sound. And let's see what you hear now. How's this? Do you hear it?
Yes.
Yay! Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let me see. Yes, we know. Okay, hear the sound. Everybody hears the sound. Awesome.
Heard the sound, but there was no movement. The image is
there isn't. Well, there isn't movement really. It's just music that I put.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't movement actually, not much. You see a different picture now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So it works. It means that it works the way I would expect it to. Okay. Okay, so that was just kind of a point that I wanted to make about the lesson procedure, to make sure that the way you move from one material to another works well for others. Any issues about the lesson procedure for now, for this slide, I guess. Then how to end the lesson, if it's fine with you to move on to ending the lesson. I try to plan ahead what I'm going to say at the end of the lesson, because at this point everybody is depleted, and I need to kind of switch to a higher mode of attention actually. So I'm always introducing some. First I'm saying, okay, we are done with talking about this, and I'm going to move now to something else. And kind of I'm telling people that this is the time for them to kind of wake up and move to a more focused kind of attention. And then all the reminders and anything that I want to say, I usually write it also on the slide, even if I'm not going to use it, like it's not part of the material of the slide, but this is what I wanted them to hear. So I write it down, and then, as I said, I have very bad memory, so I also make sure that I remember to tell about this. I usually try to also plan ahead, and it could be the same way every lesson, but I try to plan ahead how I expect students to leave the lesson. So I want to make sure that they leave the lesson with an idea of they finished listening to it, they know what's coming next, and they pressed the leave meeting button, knowing what's going on, and I know that they didn't press it on by mistake. So I tell them okay, this is the time when everybody's welcome to say goodbye. Just write goodbye or whatever you want in the chat. This will be your kind of goodbye thing. So, you know, like when students leave the class, some of them just leave, some of them say goodbye, some of them say thank you. And that's usually the way it works in class as well. Some of them say thank you after the lesson, they kind of type something and they leave. Some of them just leave. Everything is fine. I'm just saying that I try to kind of normalize it and tell students that they can communicate whatever they want during this ending of the lesson, that it's planned, that I'm expecting it, sort of. Chat. Thank you, Maria. I always stay after I finished the lesson and everybody said goodbye and everything. I still stay in the meeting. I don't leave, because there's always someone who has some question or didn't understand or wanted to ask something. So I stay like you would stay in class after I finish the lesson for a few more moments. That's what I do. Can I move on? We're good? Okay, I guess the last thing I think that I wanted to talk about is what happens after the lesson. So after I finish the lesson, I usually send an email with a very brief, some sort of summary that today we learned about negotiation techniques or something. Here's where you can find the recording of the lesson. Here's where you can find the PowerPoint. Usually I would put the recording and the PowerPoint in the same folder on Blackboard. I would say, okay, and what you still need to do is this and this exercise, and the next meeting is on this and this day, and we will be learning this and that, and here's what you need to prepare, like this. So I think it puts everybody in sort of an order of what to do.
And
yeah,
when I set up my Zoom meeting, I went through Blackboard into the folder that has the PowerPoints for that particular lesson, and I added Zoom, and I presume that when my lesson is complete on Zoom, that recording is back in that same folder.
I wouldn't think so. I'm not sure. So the way I did it so far was not through Blackboard, and therefore I'm not completely sure about that. Okay. How about I put it as one of the options for me to find out and get back to you about that.
Thank you. I did a class yesterday afternoon, and I will go back to Blackboard and check myself to make sure that lesson is recorded back in that same folder where I set it up.
So you're saying that it actually happened for you? Like
No, I have to go back and check. But
okay.
when I set it up,
Yep.
I set it up through Blackboard. I set up my Zoom session through Blackboard, and that icon is there. And I'm assuming when I completed that lesson, that recording is back in that same folder.
Yeah.
We shall see.
So I get usually, Caroline also says the same thing. And sorry, I get the same thing as Caroline. She got an email with like a link, I guess. I'm going to get an email as well with my option, but sorry. But your question is actually different. It's what happens when you schedule it from Blackboard. So I'm gonna take a look at that.
Thank you. Put it down
to myself. Okay, what else? What else? I'm done with what I wanted to say, and I don't remember anything else anywhere. So that's what I wanted to share on my experience. But also thank you very much for everybody who have experience and shared theirs. Obviously, I don't have all the answers. I'm going to talk with Sandy, I guess, and Jen, because these answers that I promised, I guess I would need to somehow share them in a way that makes sense together with the recording of this lesson. So I guess expect to hear from us in this way or another. There are many other sessions planned, as far as I know, today and tomorrow. So just feel free to attend those too, because these are all different experiences, and I'm sure many people are more experienced than I am.
And one final question before you go. I want to thank you very much for the session. Sure. The question is whether or not I have a permanent record of attendance.
Oh, yes.
As a consequence of this session.
So on Zoom, I rarely take attendance on Zoom because I use it for mainly for meetings. But there is a way to record attendance, which again, the technical way how to do this, I will share it along with the answers to the other questions, unless someone already knows how to do that. But I'll make sure to write it down to myself.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. It's you're right.
Dankeschön.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Anything else before we're good? All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
Ms. Olga, I just wanted to say thank you. We're, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes.
Why?
Fun.
I'm having fun here. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's fun. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm staying in the room as usual, but feel free to leave.